Hey guys, welcome back.
Welcome back.
And by guys, I mean Mason. Um, we were gonna do this one live, but we couldn't get it working for some reason. So, as you can tell by the fact that none of you are watching this live, it's not live.
Yeah,
But that could be something that comes in the future. Who
could
knows?
be, could be. Hopefully, I
Keep
mean
your eye out for
that's
that,
the hope. Keep your eye out for
Mason.
Mason. Yeah,
uh,
Mason. Nobody else. If anybody else is watching this, this is your cue to click off. This is only for Mason.
I personally would like you to stay.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't really want you to stay, but because ideally it would be just Mason. But we
Right.
did just check the analytics, and we do have a few more people watching for some reason. And if that's you, we just ask that you
However,
leave.
they only got into the about a minute and 53 seconds in, so it seems like for the most
Right.
part people are listening. Um, They leave right when we say leave. So you know what? I appreciate that, and I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who is no longer watching.
That's true. Big thanks to not
If you're still
watch.
here, take the freaking hint. I don't know what else to tell
Yeah,
you, bud.
take the hint. Also, just real quickly, the audio is has been changing, and that's because I don't know how to mix, and so hopefully this one will be unedited and it'll sound clearer than the last one. I don't super know. But yeah, I just wanted to apologize because we're starting out. We're just hanging out, Mason.
I'm
So
sure you thought this was a very professional setting, and you're thinking to yourself, "Wow, how could such an obviously professional podcast have this poor quality audio?" Let me let you in on a little secret, buddy. This thing is just not professional in the slightest
and yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on that front.
on that
So
front.
so yeah, dude. Um,
Logan, let everyone know about how the bulk's going. Give us
I
the numbers.
I the amount of slander that has been tossed my way because of my bulk is absurd. All right, I just want to put that out there. Just to start out, it's crazy. I think I haven't missed a day of working out in 9 days. I've been working out straight for that long.
Count them, baby.
Yeah, I'm counting them, and it's absurd because I'm working out, and yeah, I'm eating a little bit unhealthy, but not crazy outlandish unhealthy than is my usual. It's it's crazy, and I've just been eating a little bit more, so I'm not super bulking, but I am bulking a little bit. Um, just kind of gaining a few pounds. And I've gained maybe, I don't know, maybe 5-ish pounds from my normal so far, and it's crazy. All my friends are everyone I tell I'm bulking, they're like, dude, you don't need to bulk. I'm like, all right, what is the deal with this? It's like the idea is like the way that they say it is like, dude, you're too fat right now. Just stop eating. And it's like, whoa, that kind
That's
of
not
came
how
out
we
of
say
nowhere
it.
for me. That's in theory. That's the way that I'm interpreting it.
Yeah.
And it is absurd. And you know uh, it's fine.
So
It's whatever.
that's valid. I'm gonna provide context for the other half of this, just to defend everyone else involved. Um, we have been coming down pretty hard on Logan's bulk. I'll admit that. Um, and there's two reasons why. One, it motivates him. Every time we say something, he's like, "Well, guess what? I worked out today," and so we want to keep that going. It's out
Yep.
of a desire to help Logan work out more. It's not. We hate him.
That is not the that's
But
not the root of it.
the root of it is that anytime that we're hanging out, Logan will eat an absurd amount of food, usually unhealthy, or send us pictures of relatively unhealthy food and be like, "Look, I'm bulking." And the
I did
general
that
sentiment
once.
that we are saying is just, "Hey, have you considered bulking but eating healthy?" That's pretty much the hate. That's where it's coming from. That's the hate. Is we're just saying, "Hey, you can bulk and also eat healthy."
Right. And I do think that I'm considering that and taking that. I don't take that for granted because I do want to eat better, just because
Not just
I'm
more.
not just more,
Right.
but I do want to do both. And so what's funny is Carson, I made that pizza and you were like, don't you're like, oh, you're gonna eat all of it, and I was like, no, I'm just gonna eat like half. I did eat all of it, and it was a good full pizza. Um, but I checked the protein and it was like 14 grams of protein per serving, and there were 6 servings, so that's
Sorry,
like
my
100
brother
grams
just
of
texted me
protein.
something super important, so I did have to respond, but I was listening.
I wasn't even
It
gonna
was
mention that. That was
so high. importance.
What did you just ask who you're going to the fire thing?
He told me he had intel about.
Uh oh. Was
So
it? Did he say good or bad?
he didn't say. I responded with do tell.
Are we gonna bring it up on this or no?
No, we're not.
Okay. Okay.
Mason, I'll text you, buddy.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
it's just not a safe place for this
there's
kind
too
of.
many people watching a minute in this podcast for.
Okay, if you divide 7 billion by let's do some math. 7 billion, but not that many people have access to YouTube. What, 3 billion people have access to YouTube?
I think
Okay.
it's close to 5 billion.
5 billion people divided by
Maybe 6.
26 viewers. Okay, that's already a pretty small number.
How many are not old enough though? I don't know.
Right, but then I was gonna say now divide that amongst the people we know. Pretty small
Right.
percent chances, and then divide that amongst the amount of people we know that are even going to get
Stop
to this
messing with
point
the cord.
in the video. Sorry,
It could mess up.
very few people. That percentage chance is still a little bit too high for me, and that's why I'm going to refrain from mentioning anything.
Right, and I will say, I think since we did private a few videos, so I have been less lenient on keeping it fully secret that we have a podcast, you know. But I'm still not actively telling people the name or anything, but I am less lenient on keeping it secret. So I will.
Right.
I'm not
Originally,
gonna.
the podcast was a secret, and there were a couple reasons for that. One, and I still honestly would like it to be a secret, at least amongst the people we know. And this is
Mhm.
why, because I think a podcast is at its best when there's a certain level of transparency amongst
Mhm.
in the conversation. And if everyone we know is watching, it takes away a little bit of my ability to feel that transparency.
Yeah.
And honestly, the thing is, if they watch, I don't actually care. It's not like I'm saying anything I wouldn't say to people either
Mhm.
way. But it helps me feel. It helps me, I think, have a better conversation if I feel like no one I know is watching.
Right.
So I like to maintain the illusion that no one we know watches.
Yeah, and I think that's good, and I think that's fine. But I do think that there's a level of importance to even just being proud of your work because that's something that I felt a
Absolutely,
lot,
yeah.
even with people we know. And I think, dude, this is kind of going off trail a little bit, but I mean, this is what happened in class whenever we would watch a project that we made. That it was so awful because it's like I did work on it, and it's like I am proud of it, but I'm like, man, if these people, I see these people every day. If they think this is stupid, they could just say that to me every day, like after this, you know. And so there's something crazy that's weird. That's like whenever people see your work, it's like um so scary for some reason. But
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
it's very frightening because, and I can think of two examples off the top. One, I'll write, like, even saying this. Oh, nice.
whoa,
Sorry, I was holding up
thumbs
like
up
one. Um,
for our video
for our
listeners
video
because
listeners,
we are on Spotify now.
right?
If you want to check that out, just Spotify, keeping our buddy Mason in the loop.
.com. No,
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 it's
sorry,
Spotify.
stupid idiot Carson.
Stupid, stupid.
Uh, some of the most vulnerability I've ever felt in my life was, one, if I was sharing something deeply personal with someone, but the second most is whenever I'm sharing something I like created. Even so, like, and it started, with like bits, like when I would say a joke,
Yeah,
and but then, like, once you feel like you have your humor down, it doesn't really matter because even if you like, there have been times when no one's laughing at my jokes, and at this point, I just don't care. I just keep saying them.
right.
Um, because I think I've gotten confident in my humor. But there's so many things creatively I'm not confident in. Like, I
Dude, we need to
liked
make that poetry video.
right. That was my next thing I was gonna mention is that I've written like a poem. I write poems every once in a while, just because for me it's a very you know I journal a lot, and that's a great way to express and put on paper what you're feeling. But then sometimes I want to add a, because the thing about creating, and honestly just content creation in general, I think, is you're taking emotions that you could describe, but there's something about using like a literary device or a scene on camera or a instrumentation behind a song that is able to add to the level of emotion being communicated. And so I love poems. I don't. That's extreme. I like to make poems because sometimes it gives me an outlet to communicate an emotion with just that extra added layer of depth,
Right.
of like creativity. And there's some, like, I showed that to my a few of my close friends. Like, I showed one a poem I wrote about a girl that I really enjoyed our date, and I just had this poem for her, and I was like felt so uncomfortable sharing it with my friends. Um,
Well,
but
no,
one
me, you were pretty comfortable sharing it with me.
well,
I felt
yes,
like
but
you were scared though.
I wasn't scared.
Yeah, you were, dude.
Not scared. I don't think is the right word. I think it is just like, ooh, I don't know how. It just is. It's uncomfortable. It's vulnerable. It just feels
Yeah,
vulnerable. That's a
yeah,
better word. It's really not uncomfortable because I wasn't uncomfortable, and I
yeah.
also wasn't really scared. But there is like a vulnerability. I'm just like, ooh, I'm showing you something that um it feels because when you're creating something, you're putting a lot of yourself into it,
Mhm.
and so I think it's just that idea of like I'm showing you a version of myself. Like I don't just go around showing people the poetry side of myself. I don't
Right,
really know how else to say that.
right.
And that but so
It's
I
authentic.
exactly right. It's something and so I don't so it's like there's a vulnerability of like, oh, am I really going to introduce this person to this aspect of a thing? Sorry, that was a whole tangent, but
No, I like this tangent. I'm gonna add to it. I think
do it.
that's there's it's so interesting to me, like this topic of like creating something and being vulnerable, because I think for us, like we're known as like the comedy sketch, like Stale Productions is like people know us for that a little bit, and like we're our
Not
personality.
like famously, but in our
No,
friend
yeah,
group.
right,
In
right,
our friend group, like our friends know us not necessarily even as successful
right.
because we aren't, but
Hmm.
just purely as people that like to create stuff.
Right,
Right.
and well, even sometimes, but our a lot of our personality to the perception of like other people is
A lot of
comedy
bits. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
funny, and like that's just kind of what me and you are so used to and so good at, honestly, and people think we're really funny. Um, and people have told me that. I'm not
Yeah,
just
guys.
saying
People have told me
that.
that too.
um,
No one has told
and
me that.
so like what?
No, I was making a joke.
All right.
Keep going. Sorry. Clearly,
um,
I'm not funny.
yeah, yep. But anyway, like
Ugh.
that's our super, like that's super easy for me and you
That's the
to.
niche that we fall into easiest.
Right,
Is just kind of throwing out bits.
right,
Right.
and I think that's easy as well because you can kind of put on multiple characters to get a laugh or whatever,
Yeah, absolutely.
and it's way less vulnerable. Because like whenever you're being yourself and being like, man, I'm sad right now, and I'm gonna write about this, and then you show someone, like, oh, I'm sad, and then it's like, oh man, that's just like more vulnerable, and it's not
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
because people, if they think it's funny or not, like they can be like, oh, that's stupid, and it's like, ah, well, they just didn't like the joke or whatever. But it's like if they think that your stuff is stupid, it's like, oh, they think my sadness is stupid, like
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
and it's super interesting, and I think that's something that I realized with the project, but also like um in like I had a class where we were doing more creative writing, and I kind of realized that I think I enjoy a little bit of creative writing, but it's so different than what I'm used to because it's like I'm like writing about the birds chirping and crap. And I'm like,
Right.
it's
Right.
so it's so much different than what we're used to, which is just like making jokes.
Yes.
And so yeah, it is interesting, and I that's kind of why we're not telling people about this is
Right.
because we're not just making jokes the whole time.
Because
Well,
because when we do bits, like I say some crazy things when I say when I'm doing bits. Like and I really to a fault and actually to a genuine fault. I had a conversation with my brother recently about committing to bits too much because I just like I came up to him and I was like, dude, I need to. I'm committed to the bits too much. It's an actually to a detriment. Um,
what
but
specifically?
like I'm trying to think. So specifically, I was real like we met up for breakfast at that at
Yeah.
a breakfast place. I don't remember the name. And I was committing to this bit of calling Logan a blasphemer.
Oh yeah,
Which
yeah.
again,
I didn't understand that.
right, I didn't understand it either. Wait, you didn't understand me or Trey?
But what I didn't understand why how Trey thought that was serious, because I understood you
Right,
were joking, and I don't know,
right,
I thought that he thought you were serious.
right. Which was weird. Okay, that's another thing is like I forget that like in general, I assume that everyone is taking most of what I'm saying as me just talking out of my butt.
Right.
Like, because if I'm having a serious thing to say, I usually think I make that very clear. And when I'm joking, I feel like I'm very obviously joking.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so every once in a while, someone's like, "Wait, are you serious?" And then I go, Yes, because I want to commit to the bit
When you're not
when
serious.
I'm not serious at
Right,
all.
right, right.
And and so I've gotten used almost to people like seeing me do a bit and going, "That's insane." And I go,
Yeah.
"So?" Like I just have
Right.
like I already have my built-in I don't care what you think about my
And
bits, they're mine.
that's totally fine when it's like people who know your character. And that's why I was confused when Trey was confused
Yeah. Yeah.
because I knew that you were joking the whole time because I know you and I know you don't actually think that and I was joking. Like it was a kind of
We
playful
were messing
scenario.
around, right?
Nobody was laughing, but we were just like deadpan
Yeah, like a
that
lot of
was
the like sometimes the bit like one of the bits that recently I've gotten really fond of is wildly misquoting a Bible verse and s- like using it out of context. And then if someone says something like just wildly using random Bible verses to like build an argument attacking someone.
yeah.
And like and then if they say something that goes against a different Bible verse in a different context, I'll be like, "You just said this and this says this, so you are
Right.
blaspheming." Like that was the bit I was doing.
I
And
wonder if the blaspheming was what like made him think you were serious because usually you don't say blaspheming because
right.
that is more a more serious. I feel like.
Also, it was we were specifically talking about evolution, which is
Oh
a
yeah,
bit
yeah.
that me and Logan like. There's just a little enough truth behind both of us in what we're
Yeah.
saying that I think Trey thought it might have been serious.
Right, right.
But also, Trey does like I called Trey and apologized. He didn't actually say anything afterward.
Mm.
Like it wasn't like Trey was like, "Hey, we need." It wasn't like
Okay,
that. It
okay.
was like I
Yeah.
went up and I was like, "Hey, by the way, I'm sorry. I was being
Yeah.
too commit. I because I could tell that he saw me as being a little bit serious, and so I was
Right.
trying to just be like, hey, I shouldn't have committed to the bit when I because if I can tell that he was genuinely like, wait, are you serious? I should
Yeah.
have just gone no, because
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like there's no benefit to me committing to the bit purely for especially when someone thinks I'm being serious because at the end of the day I
Right.
really don't want a joke I make because most of them are dumb to be a representation of my character. So it
Right.
was just the doubling down on it that I was actually kind of apologizing for. I was just like, hey, I shouldn't have doubled down. That was dumb.
Yeah.
Um, anyways, but all of that to say is I'm at this point I just don't care what people think of my bits. And honestly, what I've noticed is that pays off a lot. Like
Mm.
me and Logan were at a party one time, and like the first hour and a half, I don't think a single person laughed at a single word out of my mouth. But then the second hour and a
me
half,
me neither. To be fair, like it wasn't just him. It was a tough crowd for
honestly, what it
our
was is
our
it was a tough
humor.
crowd. It really was.
For our humor, it was not our crowd. You know.
But eventually, I kind of found a spot, a little groove in the group to just kind of like roll with it. And then I was doing the same bits and the same jokes, but now everyone's laughing, which honestly, I don't understand. I think what it is it takes people a second to get used to what we're doing.
Because you seem serious, but if they don't know you're joking, like it's just it takes a few entry jokes to be like, okay, he's joking, you know. Um, but which is better than what I did. I made a joke, nobody laughed, and I walked away and was like, well, I better leave, you know. That was kind of what shut me down for the night because I was getting very subtle no jokes, and then I tried to insert myself into a conversation, and everybody like turned and looked at me and was like, "Oh, what, dude?" And I was like, "Never mind, you guys don't get it."
Yeah.
That's when I just like shut down, and I was like, "What? Like, dude, you pushed past that barrier," and they were loving it. So
I think that once there is like reward for pushing, for committing to, like you have to, it's a tricky, like,
that was also very different than the blasphemy thing
that was
because,
totally different, right?
but
But just the idea of like at this point, I've gotten used to bits being shut down.
yeah,
But I like if I show someone like a poem about like really real feelings I had, um, it's like and they were like, oh, this is kind of silly.
right,
What it doesn't feel like they're saying, oh, this poem is silly, like it
yeah,
does when I'm presenting a bit. It's like, wow, the fact that you felt this way is really silly.
yeah,
It's much more feelings based. Like a bit, I can disassociate myself from the bit much better than I can um, poetry. Even our videos, like once we
yeah.
make an entire video out of it, I'm a little bit more attached to it.
Mm,
Not as much, but like whenever someone calls like a Stale Productions video dumb, it hurts a little bit more than it does with just a bit.
hmm,
Um,
yeah,
because I'm like, dang, I really like that thing went all the way to production. You know what I mean? I really believed in it.
All the way to production. That's what I guess. I guess I feel bad because I roasted half of your ideas towards the end there
It is a
because
little
it
bit different
was
though whenever you do it. I'll be
okay.
honest. Like
Okay.
I don't actually, because whenever you roast my ideas, I'm like, buddy, you held the camera and helped me make them. So like
Yeah.
this is on you too. You know,
Yeah. Well,
you know,
there was a few that I got overvoted, like
outvoted
outvoted,
on.
and I still don't love
What's your
them.
least favorite idea I've had?
Uh, I think the ones on the same level of oh the sun's bright, and then oh sick.
Dude, that one is
The
hilarious.
ones on that level of like not funny, but it's like just a situation that happened is like those are my least favorite because I don't see a joke. And also ones where like I act and I'm cringy. That's
Yeah,
cringe.
anytime I feel like what I did was cringe.
Right.
But the thing is, what's interesting is there's like there's three levels. Okay, so like there's you make something and you're like this is the crap and I
Yeah.
love it, and then there's you realize how cringe it is, but then there's even more time when you go, wait a second, that's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
Like when I
Yeah.
went, like there was a time when I thought our very first video on Stealth Productions was so cringe.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
video is
Yeah.
dynamite. It's the best video on the platform. I love it because it's so like because this one I like other people thought it was cringe, so I thought it was cringe. But
yeah.
looking back, I still think it's funny.
I think it's funny now because I'm nowhere near that person anymore. Because like, but like the thing that dated that video and like is
The level
awful
of dabbing.
is the amount of dabs, dude,
Uh,
that we had.
and what's
Which was
funny,
only one each. Like we both dabbed once, but it was
right?
too
No,
many.
because we dabbed at the very end of the video as well.
Did we?
Yeah,
Oh, bro,
we said
it's
and. But what's crazy is the dab was already dead when we made that video. But if you look back, you think that we're making it in the middle of the dab
yeah.
craze. And so honestly, I think it's funny because the dab was already so dead. And is our password still the same?
dude, no, I was gonna. I thought there, but we can't. Okay, we have to change it now.
Okay,
We
our
have to
password was bring back the dab until now.
Until
apparently.
literally now, I'm gonna have to go change it
Yeah,
now.
we're gonna change it.
dude.
But bring back the dab was literally our password for our YouTube channel, and because we thought it was so funny,
I
because the
gotta
dab
change
was
it on every
already
platform now.
dead.
I have to change that on every platform.
Oh no, we're recording, so you can cut that out.
Okay, yeah. I'll bleep out the password. No, because they know what it's connected.
All
to.
they know is it's about the dab.
I think it's funny to leave it in and switch the password. That way it's
Okay.
safer to.
Wow, you guys are getting a real behind the
Yeah,
scenes look
behind the
here.
scenes. I just won't post this until I switch it, just in case.
Yeah, just in case. In
Um,
case someone's literally watching to scrub to exactly like 15 minutes in, hear our password and go
Yeah.
bananas.
Yeah. Well, I guess Mason won't take it, so we're good. I guess.
Right.
Mason already knows.
Another thing.
Well, real quick, we
sorry,
are
go
talking
for it.
about Stale Productions.
Yeah.
Just in case anybody doesn't, you can look it up on YouTube. I think we have Instagram too and TikTok, but those are just YouTube is really the bread and butter. So we just did sketches like throughout high school every now and then. Just dumb sketches and then some YouTube shorts in the more recent years. But we haven't put out anything in probably like I don't know, maybe like a few months. I don't know. 'Cause
Yeah.
we made a few here in this house, so yeah, it's been a few months. So that's the reference I was talking about. I don't know what you were gonna say.
Yeah. Still Productions, great channel.
So good.
There was a time when I thought it would go far. Honestly, even if it wasn't like successful, I thought we would just keep making videos on it. However, I will say, I'm I'm the kind of person where like I get into almost a genre of something very extremely and very well for a very short period of time. So like there was a while where I had a video idea. If we just sat down for an hour, I could come up with a video idea, like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And they might not be very good, but they would be funny and they would be worth making.
We still could do that
We
technically.
probably still could, but I feel like I just like where my brain is now would
Yeah.
not be in the exact same place to just come up with that style of comedy.
Yeah.
Honestly, like my favorite form of content creation right now is diss tracks. That's just the reality. We've been making a diss track recently, and I was talking to Ian, and I was like, you know what? Ian and I were like, Ian loves making diss track beats. I love making diss tracks. And so we were like, let's just hang out every once in a while and just pick someone to make a diss track on so that we gain a reputation of like amongst our friends. If you see an audio file pop up from me on your phone, you just know it's a diss track, a minute and a half of
That'll
just
be good.
absolutely destroying you. And that's
Yeah.
really where I'd like to go. And I think it would be really fun if I could get everyone else making diss tracks as well, so that eventually we just had a bunch of diss tracks and then compile them all into like an album,
Yeah.
just of a 100 song mixtape
We
of diss
should
tracks.
we should 100 distracts. We should do that, but we should also like I think it'd be funny to like make an album of like dissing pretty basic structures of life. That'd be pretty funny.
Wait, what do you expand on that?
Like I don't know, just like roasting the way that plants grow.
Okay, do you remember my idea about the diss track about like conspiracy theory related?
Yes, that's what I'm. Yeah, stuff like that where you have
Right.
like a concept
I
that's like
I thought it would be
wrapped.
funny to do a concept album that was basically just like I don't know what you would call it, but like the truth unmasked, like some kind of title like
Yeah,
that.
that's it.
And then like you would start off slow, like you would maybe accuse the government of a few things, and then you would talk about how the pyramids were built by aliens on the next track, and then you talk about how the Earth is flat on the third, and then maybe you'd find like one more legit one, like the Hollow Earth or something on the fourth. But then past that, you just start making the most wild accusations, not based in reality at all. You do that for
Right.
2 or 3 songs. On the fourth song, you wrap it all up with a nice little bow, and then
Yeah.
you go from there.
So yeah, the idea is just conspiracy theories, just diss tracking, but just it's not a diss
Not
track.
a
It's
diss
like a
track,
rap,
yeah. It's
like a
well, it's like
rap.
a diss track on the sheeple that believe anything else other than that thing. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, you think the Earth is a globe? No, no, no.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Just
So like, just like
flows trying to get. Yeah, just about conspiracy theories. That's kind of the idea. Just
right.
which stuff like that, I think would be super
I think
fun,
that would be really fun to do.
fun and funny, and if we can bust out my good mic and record some stuff.
Right.
Um, but yeah, that would be. I think if purely just for recreation, I think that would be so
It would
fun.
be fun for recreation, and also it would be the kind of thing where it's like throw them up on Spotify,
Right.
and then tell your friend
TikTok.
like, "Oh yeah, I have an album on Spotify," and they're like,
Yeah.
"Really?" And you go, "Yeah, this is it." And then like
Yeah.
they just listen to it, and it's just utter nonsense.
Yeah, and like TikTok, one of those gets good on TikTok, career made.
Right. Honestly, yeah,
like yeah, I'm the conspiracy theory guy.
yeah. I'm the guy that makes the conspiracy theory albums. I found a
Uh,
Spotify channel that's basically just about fart, poop, and pee related things. And so it's like there's one about Osama bin Laden and how he farts, and it's like, and basically the song is just about like, oh, Osama bin Laden's not that tough. He has farts. And then there's one about like how Kristen Stewart is so beautiful that the singer can't believe that she actually poops. So they're like such dumb songs.
yeah, that
Um,
sounds dumb.
they're really dumb, but they've got like 50,000 monthly listeners
Wow,
because
that's
they're
absurd.
like it's a niche.
Right.
I'm not one of their monthly listeners.
I bet 49,900 are just kids. They're just like, no way, there's fart
Osama
poops
bin
on
Laden farts.
Osama bin Laden fart.
And then one of them is me, and then there's 99 other people to account for.
Yeah. Yeah, 99 of you guys are not supposed to be listening to that crap. Um, yeah, I don't know. We got off on that tangent,
Oh,
but that was good.
you know what? While we're on a poop tangent, I will be sharing a story about Mason.
Okay, yes.
Stories about Mason. This is our new segment where we just want to, you know, obviously Mason's the only one watching,
Yeah.
but we want to,
Recount them with him here.
right, we want to recount them. We want to paint a picture of the man that we're talking to.
Yeah.
So Mason, bear with me. I know you already know the story I'm going to share, and you might be offended. You're like, Carson, how could you possibly think about sharing this story online? You know
Hey,
what, Mason? You signed up for this.
you signed up for it.
You signed up for
Mhm.
this. Also, it's a great story, and I would tell this story about myself proudly, but I can't tell it about myself, so I tell it about Mason because it's
Right.
his story. Uh, One day, okay, let me give you guys a little bit of information. I'm gonna really give you guys some backstory about this real quick. I have an older brother named Trey. We were discussing him earlier.
Mhm.
Mason has an older brother named Kobe. Let me
Our roommate.
Our roommate, yeah. So wow, you guys are really getting a picture.
Small world.
When I was in fourth grade is whenever me and Trey, my older brother, met Kobe and Mason. Also, when we met Logan.
Mhm.
Um,
I was not friends with them though.
Logan did not enter the picture as a very good friend until later on. Me
Yeah,
and
we
Kobe,
can
Trey, and
we can
Mason
discuss that later.
were pretty tight, pretty quick. And it was Trey, Kobe, Mason, me. So like there was like the four of us. We kind of made a little line down. Anyway, so we were hanging out pretty frequently. And one day we were out at the Kobe and Mason's house, swimming in their pond. which I love to say because it really makes me feel like I had a childhood before technology. And I'm like, oh, we were swimming in the pond. Um, and we created this game that we would play where someone would get in the kayak and paddle as quick as they could across a section of the pond, and the other three people would have some time to create mud balls and just throw them at the person, um, which is a great game. And like you try to knock them out of the kayak. So one day we're playing this game, and at one point, Mason Kobe is going across in the kayak, and suddenly Mason goes up to Trey holding a mud ball, and he's like, "Trey, look, it's mud poo." And Trey was like, "Mud poo? What is that?" And he grabbed it out of Mason's hand and he threw it at Kobe, and it hit Kobe in the face. And Kobe starts freaking out, and Mason's like, "Why did you do that?" Plot twist. Mason did not say mud poo. He said, "Look, Trey, it's my poo." What Mason had done was pooped in the pond, and it floated up. So he cupped it in his hands, and he was like, "Trey, look, it's my poo." And Trey grabbed it out of his hands and threw it at Kobe. So it's just a crazy, wild, like.
I hope anybody watching this is not squeamish or
Yeah, if
grossed
you're
out by
squeamish,
that.
sorry. Also, I will
This
just,
is
for
gross.
Mason's sake, I will let you know. Mason might have been in 5th or 6th grade at the time. So this was.
That's too old.
No, it's not. No, it's not, bro. That's the right age to be throwing poop around.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I remember hearing that story and just dying. That's
We've got a lot of poop stories.
yeah, we do. That's gonna be all for this week of that segment.
Of poop stories. Wait, sorry. Mason
No,
stories.
stories about Mason.
Stories about Mason,
We're
yeah.
gonna. I think that's our segment that we'll do.
We'd like to keep that as a weekly thing just to
Yeah.
slowly begin to paint a picture. And if that gives you any indicator, it only gets better.
Yeah, and the other segment that we had that I think might be dead now is coffee golf.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it. So coffee golf. I was in the trenches.
An excellent game.
A great game, coffee golf. Again, sponsor us if you're watching this coffee golf.
Please.
Um, but unfortunately, I'm not sure that we will be doing this segment again because um,
Trey's lazy.
Trey is
That's just the
lazy.
reality of the situation. Trey's being lazy. We have a bot to keep track of our scores. Trey hasn't updated it for December. Until the bot gets updated, there's not going to be really any steam. And honestly, I feel like this month's already lost cause. I
I
think
mean, I'm still
you're still
I'm
playing
doing
daily.
it.
I think
Yeah,
that our best case scenario for getting the group involved is let this month die out, get Trey to update it in January, and go, all right, boys, new year, new coffee golf. Kind of
yeah,
enter with that mentality, and I think we might be able to get it going
that might be the
for
move.
2024.
Yeah, it's so sad because
Logan
I'm
never had a great run in coffee golf, and that is tragic.
yeah, and I had a good start, but oh boy, I landed in the trenches
Yeah.
for November, and
Logan was
December.
averaging probably 15 for the second half of November.
I'd say 16, pushing 17.
Wow.
And this month I've started pretty strong. I have 2 gold days already.
Should we tell them about the sneaky tomfoolery?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up next. Is
Okay.
it is the end of November. The crash and burn. There's not no reason for why Trey hasn't updated the bot. We did have a little incident involving person to my right, probably to your left. But it's Carson got himself in a little bit of a
I
pickle.
committed to a bit.
Right. Well, let's go ahead. I'll let you take over and go ahead and talk about
Okay.
this one.
So I woke up one morning and I'm really a first place or nothing guy. That's just the reality. I don't see a lot of value in second and third place, especially with something like this. Oh, I got second place in November. That's not a flex. Only I got first place last month is a flex. Anything else is like, dude. So anyways, I was right behind Joel in the standings with 2 days left in November, and I played a day very aggressively, and it went badly, and I just kind of got upset and just started driving the ball off all around the map, and I was like, I don't care, I'm not gonna get first with this score, so I'm just gonna rack one up. I got a 20, which is very high,
Not
and
not to me. 20
not
is
to Logan.
20
That's
is
that's
any
pennies
other
for
day
Logan.
for November.
And I showed our roommate Kobe at about 7 in the morning. I was like, Kobe, check this out. I got a 20. And I had every intention of sending it to our Discord bot. I just hadn't yet. Um, but I was going to. And then at like 4 p.m., Kobe texted and he goes, all right, Carson, just bite the bullet and send it already. He didn't say it like that, but he said it pretty close
No,
to
he
that.
said it. He said that's almost verbatim what he said.
Verbatim what he said.
Yeah.
And as soon as he said that, I went, No one tells me what to do. I will no longer be sending this score. But I had to find a reason not to because I'm nothing if not a rule follower. So I said, "Hey, I haven't had time to play it yet. I'll send it as soon as I can." And Kobe was like, or no, no, no. Before I said could get to that, Kobe told everyone he was like he got a
Yeah.
20, which
No, he
that
didn't. He didn't say what. He didn't say what the score was.
he did at some point. I don't remember when
He
though.
did it after the fact because I was asking you. I was like, Carson, what'd you get?
And I basically what I decided is I was like I told everyone I was like there is no proof that I played today, and until I play, the rules we had in place were that if you don't send a score, if you forget to play on a day, you get the worst score of that day plus 2. That was the rule. And so I was like I was basically just saying like no, I haven't had time to play yet today. But as soon as I get the time, I'll send my score, and then if not, I'll take the penalty of worst score plus 2, which would have been a 15. So I would have been saving 5 strokes.
Right.
I had no intention of ever doing that. But the problem is, the more I got pushback, the more I felt like I had every right to do that because I wasn't breaking any rules. And then everyone was like, "Okay, well, give us your phone so that we can see that you haven't played yet today." And I was like, "Hey, look, there's practice. Okay, you can't just take someone's phone. You need to get the proper documentation. You need to get legal. There's legal precedent that we have to follow for a search and seizure. You know, you need a warrant from the council of people that play coffee golf." And then I told them I wouldn't have representation ready until at least December 1st, and I am entitled to a lawyer. Anyway, so I just was playing the deflection game.
Hardcore.
Hard. And I committed
Hardcore.
hard. And about 3 people knew I was doing a bit, and the 3 didn't. And that's just how it
Yeah,
is.
Joel did not think you were doing a bit. He
Yeah,
thought
Joel
you were
thought I was
fully
serious.
serious.
I think Trey was not sure.
Yeah.
Mason probably knew I was doing a bit. You knew I was doing a bit. Kobe, I think, thought I was being
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you going to do?
What are you gonna do?
And then, anyways, so the next day I sent it along with another score of a 25. Um, and they gave me a new tag in the Discord, which is Sneaky Tomfoolery. My Discord tag used to be kind of cute, which was
Yeah.
great because it was like everyone else's was like kind of dumb and like.
Mine's pretty accurate.
What was yours?
Strong Johnson.
Oh, nice, yeah. But mine felt like endearing. You
It's
know what
more
I mean?
accurate now that I'm jacked.
Like it felt like aw, and now it's Sneaky
Yeah.
Tomfool.
Yeah, and you deserve it. I'll say, you do deserve it because you were trying to be a sneaky tomfool.
I was doing Sneaky Tomfoolery, so it's hard for me to push back against that. I just wish it hadn't gone down exactly like that.
Yeah, it's definitely well deserved. But I think that's likely why Trey hasn't updated the bot is because there was so much drama, and like you put like a 20 and 25 towards the end, and
Kind of felt like the season just died.
it did feel like it
Yeah,
died. Which is unfortunate because
it is.
I'm better than ever right now.
However, I will say that Logan is a little bit of the Dak Prescott of coffee golf. Uh, he always looks great, but then when you need him most, he's not. He's not there.
Yeah, well, the Pro Tour has changed that though because
I don't
I'm
believe it.
I'm playing what?
I just don't believe you.
All
We'll
right.
see. We'll see how you're doing in December 18th.
All right. But, I've been playing coffee golf more than any other app on my phone, and so I feel like I'm doing good. But, it is just unfortunate. So that segment probably won't be repeated until Trey can fix the bot. So Mason, if you're seeing this, clip this, send it to Trey. Anybody else, clip it, send it to Trey.
Right. Right.
Please, we end coffee golf. If you're seeing this, sponsor us. We'll make
Clip
Trey
it.
do
Send it to
it.
Trey.
Clip it, send it to Trey. Coffee golf.
Can I go back real quick to something I said
Yes,
earlier?
let's go
Okay.
back.
I said something about Dak Prescott, and I would just like to say I am a Cowboys fan. And I want. Is it okay if I give my take on the NFL MVP race real quick?
Just quick, yeah.
Real quick. Okay. First of all, I do agree that it's become too much of a quarterback's award. However, reality is quarterback is usually the most valuable person on every team. Usually. However, I think Dak Prescott should get the MVP as of right now. And the reason for that is because specifically with the Dallas Cowboys, he has to be. If Dak is not playing well, the Cowboys lose every time. But if Dak is playing well, they win every time. They've lost one game when I've seen Dak really playing well, and that was against the Eagles. And so I think that Dak actually plays such a key role for the Cowboys' success that it's not like, okay, Brock Purdy, he's a good quarterback, but the thing about Brock Purdy is he is like a lot of quarterbacks could do very well on the 49ers. I don't think Brock Purdy has the it factor. I could be wrong. And so I think Dak Prescott should get it. I also think Tyreek Hill would be a good choice because he's incredible. But I do think the Cowboys are playing their best football ever. I think Dak is currently the best quarterback in the entire NFL. And I just want that to be put out there.
To me, the MVP has to go to someone who's on the Super Bowl winning team.
They vote before the Super Bowl happens.
Yeah, I understand that, but they're if the Cowboys aren't even going to win the conference, why would they?
Well, the MVP is a regular season award, so it's
Right.
not supposed to be a playoff and Super Bowl award.
But if they're not even going to be the best of the conference,
Well, they very well might be. If they beat the Eagles this week, then they'll be tied for the best record in the conference.
so tied. Okay. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is they have the second best record in the entire NFL right now.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, I just don't like Cowboys, so.
Logan just doesn't like football. Logan's not a football guy, so
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, let's move on from this
I'm really
topic.
talking to There's not a lot of input Logan can give. I just want to make my case for Dak right
Yeah.
there. And anyways, we can move on.
Yeah. I I I was gonna go back to bulking, but I think I don't really want to talk about bulking anymore. I
Okay.
I think I've got my protein intake in for today, and I think
Ooh,
we're good.
Mason. Here, I'm gonna let Mason know how I'm doing on my Goodreads goal. Okay, so my goal for Goodreads was 52 books. I think Mason knew that, and I didn't. I'm not gonna get it. And I would like to make my case for why I won't get it.
How many books have you read?
Yeah. Okay, wait. Let me pull that up.
Because so far this year, I've read one book.
I've read 34 books this year.
Sheesh.
I read 34, which there's two things. One, I'm pretty happy with that because I hadn't been reading as much, and I'm glad that it became a habit again. So I feel like I read a lot. You know what I mean? Also,
34 books is a lot.
I would say probably 12 of those books were over 1,000 pages,
Gosh.
which
Dude,
I think
what?
realistically that is at least worth 3 regular books.
Why would you do that?
I know. I got into Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson, I think, is the best fantasy author there is right now. And I just got so deep in his stuff. So I read a lot of like high page count stuff. And so I'm interested to see if I divide my total pages over 52, how many pages a week I read. Because if it's like 200 pages a week, then I'll feel pretty justified in getting dang close to 52 books a year. Because the thing is, like if you read the Chronicles of Narnia, you're getting 7 books, and I can read those in 2 weeks, maybe
Wow.
3. But a Brandon Sanderson book will take me the same amount of time, and it's worth 1 book. You know what I mean? Basically,
Yeah.
just book count isn't everything. Also, I was at camp for like 6 of those weeks, and I didn't get to do very much reading there. But I am a little bummed I didn't hit the goal. I think I'll be setting my goal for 40 books in the upcoming year.
That's what I was about to say. Just hit 40 this year.
I don't know if I'll hit 40 this year,
You
but
got 3
I'm saying for
weeks.
next year I'll set my goal for 40.
If you can read Chronicles of Narnia in 2 weeks.
I know, but I'm still like right now I'm finishing up it, which is uh a little over the 1,000 page mark.
Gross.
And then I'm reading a book, the Laconis trilogy, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm on the second book, and that one's like 700 pages. So I might finish both of those before the year ends, and I'd be happy if I did. But I'm not gonna get to 40.
I don't understand reading. I don't get it. I read one book, and then I'm reading the second book, but even this I rarely read. Um, I just don't. Man, I just don't like to read. That's just it. I think there's honestly not much to that.
Just
I
doesn't
just
like it.
don't like to read.
Fair.
Don't judge me, Mason. Huh?
Mason recommended a book to me recently, and I do still want to read it. It was about
Nerd.
blood opera or something like that. But I never got it from him. He said he was gonna give me a copy.
Man,
Still
that's
possible he'll do
crazy.
that.
Mason, dude, we could do a podcast. Our next podcast could be with Mason.
When does he get in town?
We Thursday or Friday, because we leave Friday.
That would be fun. This next Friday?
I think I don't have
Wow.
my phone on me because
That's exciting.
it's the 15th, which would be next Friday. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when we drive up. So he might come in Thursday. We could do it that night.
Mason's brother Kobe is getting married December 28th, and so we've got the bachelor party coming
29th.
up. 29th, thank you. But all that jazz is pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's super exciting. We should do one more episode, maybe this weekend,
Right.
and then
Try to get Mason on the books though for sure.
yeah, and then try to get Mason for the next one. That would be good.
That'd be super fun.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we're trying to do more. I think I would like to do more than one podcast a week. But I had a hectic weekend, um, procrastinating my projects. So
I had a hectic weekend doing nothing.
yeah. So I think I like the idea of trying to do more podcasts
Right.
than just once a week. And this has been 8 days since we put the last one, so it'd be a little
All
bit
right.
over a
A
week.
little bit
But
over a week. Yeah, I would be fine with more than. I think the natural rhythm hopefully will go, and it'll be close to once a week, if not
yeah,
maybe like 3 every 2 weeks ish, around that
right,
range. You
right.
know what I mean?
Yeah, that's probably kind of what I'm aiming for. Cause we were gonna shoot this Sunday and today's Tuesday.
Right.
And we just got busy.
Yeah.
So you know,
And honestly, we're pretty relaxed about it. It's
yeah,
like, hey, want to do a pod today? No.
yeah,
Hey, want to do a pod today? Yeah, let's do it.
yeah.
That kind of thing.
We're just hanging out right now, and if we get sponsors, hey, I will drop out of college if I'm making enough
I
money.
already did. I
Carson already
believe that
did.
we can get there.
That's
I
why he
banked my
dropped out.
education on this.
That's why Carson dropped out.
Amen. What are we?
Yeah,
How are we? What's our time at? Do you know?
I can't tell, but I'm getting, what is that? 46. That's
right?
good. Probably. I mean, it feels like it.
Yeah.
This has been
We
good.
were shooting for 45 minutes to an hour, so honestly, this is a pretty solid
This
way
is
to.
good. Real quickly, I just will say, women, I'm
What?
I'm here.
Oh my gosh! This
Nobody's
is.
watching this. It's fine. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah,
You're
this
not kidding, bro. That's
Dude,
crazy.
imagine I find my wife through keeping our buddy Mason in the loop.
I think that's a good time to end it.
Yeah, it's a good time to end it. I'm feeling
Hey
sleepy.
guys, thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you so much for
Mason,
watching, Mason.
hope you feel like you're back in the loop.
Hope you feel like you're in the loop.
Call me if you want more information about the girl thing.
That's true. Yeah. You'll probably just call him in a second. Anyways, go ahead and hit that R button. Thank you for watching.